Well, hello, it's Paul from Personal Development Unplugged, and today I have gone on a little bit longer than normal, and it's a slightly different format than normal, and I think you're going to gain things that you didn't know you were going to gain, and you may even notice the things you're going to gain, which sort of makes sense and doesn't, but there's stuff in here that I think you'll find really interesting. So bear with me, go through it, find out what the hell I'm talking about, and more importantly, just enjoy. Have more fun than you can stand.
Personal development, unplugged.
And you see, I heard a little while ago someone telling me about fear, and they called it something like false evidence appearing real. Well, sort of. You see, and I don't know. You see, I get those type of things. You know, false evidence appearing real, F-E-A-R. And it seems to make sense. But sometimes I think it's a little bit crass, you know, someone making these things up. And they don't sit well inside me. So, and I know we've all got things that we've been worried about. Or we've got memories of times that when you think about them, they stop you doing things in the now or in the future. And they're stopping you things that maybe that you shouldn't be doing. And therefore that's good. But you know, a lot of the times, because we haven't learnt maybe, that they stop you doing things that are just right for you. Now, let's get more simple than that. You see, a long time ago, in the days of the old saber-toothed tiger, this used to be a signal, because if you were in the days of the saber-toothed tiger and you hadn't got your wits about you and you weren't thinking that everything is going to go absolutely, well, bad, then you'd probably get eaten by the saber-toothed tiger. So our reptilian brain has this thing that goes, oh, and it's even more than fight and flight because it's still there. And the thing is, we've got convenience stores, we've got our own knowledge, we've got people around us and things like that. We don't get eaten anymore. So that little saber-toothed tiger signal of anxiety and fear is now probably no longer needed. Well, it's not needed, is it? Because we have got fight and flight. But, you see, so why now? Why now have you still got it? Now, here's the thing. I was listening to somebody on a podcast. Really, Paul, on a podcast? Yeah, on a podcast. I know I listen to lots of different people. And this one, I give it great credit. The guy is named Jonathan Fields, and he does a podcast called The Good Life Project. And he was talking to this lady, and I must admit, I wasn't getting all the things she was saying. You know, some of them grated with me, some of them made me think. But she said something that really made me think. Her name was Marianne Williamson. So all credit to her for making me think. And they were talking about fear. And what she said was, well, fear only exists because of what's not there. Oh, wow. Fear only exists because of what's not there. Now that is interesting. What can you do with that? So, and you know, I like to think, and I like to, you know, talk about these things I'm thinking about. Because you see, the past doesn't have to equal the future. So if you did have a fearful past, it doesn't have to mean you're going to have a fearful future, unless you keep doing what you're doing now. And it doesn't mean whatever you had in the past has got to create what's in the future. It's what you decide. What you decide to create right now creates the past and creates the future, I think. So let's think about this thing about fear. Fear only exists because of what's not there. So what isn't there? Now here's the thing. Let's think about this. How can we use this? Because I don't, you know, never like to leave you hanging. So here's the thing. Okay, I've said that 3 times now, haven't I? Here's the thing. 4 times now. I must stop that. So how can we use this information? And there are so many ways. But before that, have a listen to this.
And now a word from our sponsor.
Hello, darlings, and he's asked me to be his sponsory thing again. So I thought initially that I I crochet a scarf and you could all sponsor me, but that's not what little Paulie meant at all, and I got very, very confused. What he's saying is, maybe I could ask for you to ask all your friends to come and join us on the mat with Monty and me. And listen, and it means something like sharing things, because he's got buttons on his webby sites and things. I think he said, the website's name was paulclough.co.uk thing. I don't know. You'll work it out, because, well, come on the mat and find out. But if you could share it, it would make me, Mumsy, and him as well, I suppose, very, very happy to want to buy a bigger mat. And I'm still going to crochet that thingy-bob. See you soon.
And now, back to the show.
Don't you just love her? Yeah, she's gorgeous. Anyway, we were talking about how do we use this information, and think about fear only exists because what's not there. So I would, and as I did, got my Jenny journal out. And I thought to myself, I even wrote, I wrote that sentence down, fear only exists because what's not there, underlined, and a not and an exclamation mark, because that was important. And then I wrote, what can I learn about this? Because I like to write down my questions too. Because as you know, the more you write, you have to use your muscle memory to write. You have to use your internal voice for the words that you write. You think about it first, and it goes in about so many times. The old synaptic gaps are starting to fire off like guns. So let's explore it. What's not there? So what could it be? Could be information. So if you've got an issue, you've got a problem, or you've got something that you would like to do but you're fearful of, what information have you not got? Because you see, if you've got that information, then you've got this clearer, fuller and richer picture. And when you have that fuller, clearer picture, you've got the stuff that's not there. Therefore, you can make a considered decision. You can make a considered decision and do something about it. And I'll tell you about the thing to do about it in a minute. I'll come to that. Because we're still running on this thing about what's not there. So what else could not be there? Well, you might want to consider this. What skills haven't you got that you need to enable that situation to go even better? Not as you want it, but even better than you want it. So what skills are you missing? Now, these could be skills that you haven't got, or these could be skills that you have got, but you hadn't thought about using them. They could also be skills that somebody else has got. And now you might say to me, well, if they've got a pool, that's theirs. But the thing is, if they've got them, then you can have them. All you have to do is find out how to get them. So we make some notes of that. And before we go on to the next, how we're going to do this, I've got one more thing I thought of, and I'm sure there's plenty more. It's got, what I thought is what emotions are missing. It's because we know what emotion is there. That's the anxiety, the fear, the worry, or whatever. But what emotion is missing from how you want to be, how it could be, and if it was better than you ever imagined it to be, what would that be like? And what emotion would be there? And when I say emotion, that could be confidence. But sometimes confidence is just so blasé. Oh, just need confidence. But you need confidence in and from something. But also you've got, see, the confidence could be confidence in the skill that you're not using. That's the other way of using confidence. But it could be maybe the emotion of being aware. Maybe it's the just being comfortable in yourself and comfortable in your surroundings. Maybe it's the emotion of being, I don't know, really just thinking, being so, what is it now? Think. 14 minutes 59. Maybe it's just really interested. That emotion that you feel when you're totally interested in this thing that you want. Maybe it's excitement. Maybe it's, well, you think. There are so many different emotions, and skills and information. But once you pull this picture together, you've got the information. Now then, that may just blow that fear thing right out of the water. It may get to the point where you go, well, actually, it's not that important now because I've got the answer, so you're not going to do it anyway. Or the thing that you want to do, you find it's just right for you, and now I know what those missing keys, I know what I need. But here's the thing, let's double up on this and make sure that when you do it, it's not only just right for you, it's better than just right for you. So how do you do that? Here's another thing. We're not going to the sponsor now. Think of that perceptual positions, because you can close your eyes and imagine, instead of being the other person. I mean, I'll remind you about perceptual positions just very briefly. First position, looking through your own eyes. In the moment, looking through your own eyes, being you, seeing everything you see. Second position, if there's another person, being in them, looking back at you, seeing yourself from somebody else's eye, some other person's view. And then there's the third position. Sometimes we call it the meta position or the director position, where you're normally up high, looking down on the whole event. So you're dissociated, therefore you haven't got that tie of emotion, so you can see it as a director. And that's where I want you to go. Because now I want you to, like, as if you were a movie director and you're the star in this little movie. I want you to imagine that you're going to tell the star of the movie, the you down there, what to do as they go through. So tell them what about the information is missing that they can use. Tell them to use the skills that you know they got to use that was missing, and to have the emotions, the most appropriate emotion that was missing. And notice from this position up here, as you play the memory of this future event, notice how well it works. And if you want to change something, you can rewind it, tell the star to do something different, and notice which one works best. And you see, when you do this, you're going to find out there are things that work better. There are things that maybe don't work that well, or that might even give you inspiration to suddenly, in the moment, come up with something even more better. But as you do this, it's like your unconscious mind is creating, as it were, memories of actually doing this because you've just done it. And it's now getting the confidence of, I've done this before. I know how it's going to go. I've got all this information. I can do it. And it feels good when I do it. And therefore, you've now got this goal. You've got this thing that really is going to give you a good feeling. And you can do it now with ease. And you know it's going to help you get something else. And if you wanted to, you can just keep imagining it. And if you wanted to after that, you could drop into that first position. Be you in your imagination and go through it. Go through that future event, imagining going exactly the way that you've just seen it happen, with the skills, with the information and with the emotions that are going to do it so right, and even get to do it even more. So the more you do it, the more you feel so comfortable in doing it. Now, if you wanted to, when it feels so good, here's a little trick. Go back into it and feel so good and turn that feeling up even more. And as you turn it up, I want you on one of your knuckles, just press your finger. Say your index finger on your index knuckle of the other hand. Feel that good feeling and just touch that knuckle gently and just press it down. And then take your finger off and feel that feeling even more. Turn it up, double it. And as you double it and you spin it faster and faster, press that knuckle again. And just keep doing it. So that feeling grows and grows and grows. And every time it grows, press that knuckle. So when you stop, you can clear the screen, you press that knuckle and you feel that good feeling. And when you're feeling that really good feeling, you know you've got it. And then what I want you to do with your little finger of the same hand, I want you to, you're going to touch your little finger knuckle on the other hand, but not yet, because I just really want you to think of the old feeling that you used to have and just press that knuckle once, just so you can remember it. That's it. And done. Take your finger off. And here's what you can do. You can put your fingers, not touching the knuckles, but your index finger over that index knuckle and the little finger over that little finger in knuckle, and then go 1, 2, 3 and press them both together now. And as you press that, feel that funny feeling. Sometimes it is funny. And as you do that, take your little finger off and keep holding that index finger. So that good feeling gets stronger and stronger and stronger as you think about doing the thing, making and having more success than you can imagine. Well, you could also, if you really wanted to, now you've really got that under your belt, just think, having done all that, what is the worst thing that could happen, really? Because before, you see, you were imagining the worst thing that happened, which was totally overplayed. But now you've got this information. What is the worst thing that could happen? And as you just make a note of, in reality, what could happen, then just think of ways you can mitigate it. Ways that you can move around. Maybe you could anchoring a better feeling. Maybe you could just then remember these feelings, the skills and the information. Or maybe you just get a bailout and go, do you know what? If it's not working the way I want to work, I'm just going to open the door and leave, or just change the subject or do something. But there are so many different ways you can mitigate it. And once you've got all those written down, man, you can do whatever you choose. And I do know that when you go to do that thing, you will excel every expectation. Now, before you do all of that, and you might want to re-listen to some of that again, the only thing I forgot to mention, because I wrote the notes backwards, unfortunately, damn. But before you do all of this, when you get Jenny Journal out, and you wrote that question down, so what can I learn from this? And what is missing? Just remember to put yourself in the right state. So maybe it's a learning state. Maybe it's a state of just calm collectedness, and set your intention, which is in some ways what can I learn from this? But I want to learn from this so I can actually excel in everything I can do. And once you set your state and your intention, go through this process, and I know you're going to smash it out of the park. You really will. So isn't it interesting that, you can listen to somebody who, you're not quite sure of, yet that one sentence they said, well, that sparked off so much for me. So anyway, I just want you to know that if you feel anxious at all, or you have fears, I do have my Free Your Life from Anxiety program out now. And the first 5 days are absolutely free, and you may even change in those first 5 days. And there's even like a money back guarantee on the rest of the program. So you can listen to half the program with you can listen to enough the whole program and just see that it fits just right for you. If that's not right for you, don't worry about it. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed that. It's longer than before, but it's just a different way of talking, I guess, and a different way of being. So there you go. I'll leave you to it. And hopefully you'll follow the words of our sponsor that you heard before. And please do share. And I'd love your comments. I really would, just to notice how you like the different types of things that we're doing. So, me, Paul Clough, and enjoy every heartbeat. Bye-bye now.
Personal development, unplugged.